Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. It's the 43rd day of the year. Remember your prime number relationships, 43, the 14th prime. We got a caller. I don't know if it's somebody part of this live stream. Let's check real quick.
Greetings. Is this Zachary?
Yes, I'm doing a live stream right now. Are you part of the live stream?
No, sir, I'm not. Just call me back. This is Paris. Call me back when you can. It's important. Thank you, sir. I sent you something. I hope.
All right, I'll call you back in about an hour and a half. Thank you.
Thank us.
All right, bye. Funny, somebody calls as soon as I start. Anyway, it is February 12th, the 43rd day of the year, leaving 322 days remaining. Infamous numbers. Keep in mind, 43 is the 14th prime. Always remember your relationship numbers we look at. So make a note here. 43, the 14th prime. 43rd day. Today's date has 53 numerology. That's the 16th prime, so another number we can keep an eye on. 26 date numerology, 17. That's the 7th prime. 33 and 14. So numbers to keep in mind today as we look at overall standings and head-to-head and streaks. For the NBA, it's the 120th day of the season. For the NHL, it's the 133rd. Before we get to today's games, I just want to show you the latest news headline that's related to the world of sports. I think this is another good sign for Duke. So Corey Maggette, former Duke basketball player, now accused of rape by the same woman that accused the lieutenant governor. And just to cut to the short of this happened last night, the 42nd day of the year. Corey Maggette, the player who's blamed, the name of the woman who did the blaming is Watson. And from Corey Maggette's birthday, November 12th, to this day the story broke, was 91 days later, or a span of 92 days, so his 92nd day of his age. And in 91 and in 92, Duke won the college basketball championship. And notice the accuser's name is also 92. So, again, these series of stories began the day before Duke played Virginia and beat Virginia. The only question I'm left wondering is, could Duke play Virginia in the championship? It's possible. They're one of the top teams. So the narratives, again, this is what we pay attention to. News stories that are synced up with the world of sports. These stories are all pointing to years where Duke did well in March Madness. Okay, real quick before we go on with today's games, let's also review yesterday. We said this game was tight, but had a feeling Cavs would win because of the Zion Williamson sweepstakes. So this helps the Knicks' cause. We expect Zion to go to New York. Wizards, I thought, had the better narrative here. They could have picked up their 25th win and kept the Pistons at 25 wins on a 25-date numerology, but there was something else that made it iffy. So the date numerology didn't work out here in this game. We expected the Pacers to beat the Hornets. They did. Raptors, like I said, Raptors will probably win this game. The smartest bet, because the Nets had a narrative, was to bet them to cover the spread. If you did that, you won your bet. So Raptors picked up their 42nd win on the 42nd day of the year and 52nd series win on a date with 52 numerology. Nets had the chance at the 13th win on a 13 date as well, but the Raptors, I thought, was a little bit stronger. Bucks beat the Bulls, as expected. 42nd win on the 42nd day of the year. The team from Wisconsin gave the Bulls their 44th loss, and Chicago Bulls equals 112. So appropriately, the Bucks went with 112 points. Rockets thought they'd get the Mavs. There wasn't a lot of strong numbers either way, but there was just no reason to believe the Mavs were going to beat the Rockets. Another game, Timberwolves were on 25 wins. Clippers could have got their 25th all-time win at Minnesota on the 25 date. That didn't work out either. So this is going on now more than 2 weeks where date numerology, it's probably been 50-50 the last. So it's almost like the date numerology is not helpful anymore. It's more about like the gematria of the cities and the nicknames and the arenas. We're seeing that play out more than the date numerology. So the date numerology for both games here, well, I mean, I shouldn't say all of them. I mean, you know, the Bucks and the Raptors, it had to do with the date, but the date numerology at 25, it didn't play here for the two games where we were looking at it. The Thunder had the better narrative over the Blazers, and they did get it. The one narrative for the Blazers was the coach could have got his 116th loss for the Thunder, and Portland equals 116, but instead they got that 37th win over Portland. He got his 187th win. The name of the arena is 187. February 11th, even written as words, equals 187. And Nuggets picked up their 38th win in Colorado, the 38th state. And Florida's also 38. So we thought the Nuggets would beat the Heat. I mean, we were on the right side of most games. 1, 2, not this one. 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1. Mostly on the wrong side of this one. 6-2, 7-2. I mean, 7-2, not a bad day, but a lot of those narratives were tight. So in the NHL yesterday, the game that we knew was the safest panned out. The Sharks beat the Canucks. They had really good numbers to do so. The Kings had a narrative to get the better of the Capitals. Seemed that the Kings had the better narrative here. The Capitals had one thing in their corner, and that's what played out. And the Penguins did stop that Flyers goalie from getting the record. The goalie seemingly had good numbers, but the Penguins had good numbers too. So tight narrative here. Just remember, they got those 65th points in Philadelphia. Philadelphia 65. The thing with the Kings was they could have got their 61st series win. Los Angeles Kings 61, Washington, D.C. 61. Didn't work out. Whatever the Capitals value was, the Capitals picked up that series win number that corresponded with the word Capitals. But the safest pick, it went well. It had all sorts of riddles. And then the other sport was college basketball. Let's see here. We had two games yesterday, two ranked games. I started out liking Virginia. Virginia had a good riddle to get it done, getting that 9th win in their 23rd game. And the coach staying at 88 losses against the Tar Heels 88, which is always a big number with them. That is what happened. But Caller did make a good observation. He pointed out that if North Carolina won, they'd be 10-1 in the ACC, and North Carolina Tar Heels does equal 101. And North Carolina also had the Gematria 203, and Virginia could have been 20-3. So, you know, it's one of those things. Just when there's a, like, exactly, North Carolina Tar Heels equals 101, and 10-1 does look like 101, and North Carolina does look equals 203 and does look like 20-3. Sometimes those riddles work out, but let me take this call real quick, just in case somebody in the chat.
Hey, Zach. Good morning. It's Greg from Reno. How's it going?
Going well. Are you in the live stream right now?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
I just wanted to say about yesterday's games. Man, you were on it, man. You were on it. I had a $4-teamer, $50 4-teamer. I had Kansas plus 2.5, which I should have went money line. That North Carolina game screwed me up on a couple other parlays, but Kansas, the Sharks, the Thunder, and Minnesota Timberwolves all hit. You called that 114 yesterday because they were going to hit the 114 number of the games played against.
That's right. That's right. It was the 114th game. I forgot that I came back to that. So the 25 thing didn't play out, but the series thing played out. That's right.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, man, Zach, I wanted to tell you again because every time I call you, I forget. Brother, you are doing revolutionary stuff. I was listening to a couple of weeks ago, people were trying to egg you on to start some kind of revolution, to start some kind of get people to fight the tyranny. Brother, you're doing that already. You've put yourself at so much risk by the information and the knowledge that you've given us that you're sparking the brains, like Tupac. Tupac always said, he's not going to change the world, but he guarantees he's going to spark the brain of someone that will change the world. And that's exactly what you're doing, Zach. And don't get down on yourself that you're not doing enough, because you're doing more than anybody else that is on your Patreon, anybody else that are calling you and trying to egg you on to do more. That's all I wanted to say, Zach. You're doing well. And I also wanted to say, do you get any pressure? Because I remember you were telling me that these FBI guys had come to your house and they played a tape. They played a tape, a doctor tape, saying that you said some stuff about the Jewish people. Do they add more pressure? Have they been trying to intimidate you even more since then? If they do, Zach, is there any safe measure that you could take to guarantee your audience that they will not change your direction?
Nobody's tried to bug me. Nobody's messed with me since they came here August 21st, 2018. That was the last time I got any interference. And I moved. I've been living in a different place. I'm in a small town now, and that's part of the reason I think the FBI came here, probably because they don't have anything to do in this town. But I haven't had anyone bother me since that day, and I hope it stays that way. But nobody would ever make me change my course. I mean, I'm just not that person. I would never sell out. So,
well, Zach, thank you for putting yourself on the line for the truth community. Thank you for putting yourself out there, and you don't have to do any more than what you're doing. Right? You're doing this 6 days a week, and this is hours and hours and hours of work. Brother, you're doing so much. Don't put any more pressure on yourself to do more than what you're doing. Thank you, Zach. Have a great day.
All right. Appreciate the message. Thank you. And I forgot that we did get it on the right side of this Timberwolves game. So in a way, I guess we were on the right side of 8 games yesterday. But the thing I want to take away from this review is the date numerology is burning us the last 3 weeks almost as much as it's helping us. So it's almost like a guessing game with the date numerology. We still want to look at it, because, I mean, historically it's been the thing, but we have to realize that for whatever reason, since the NFL season pretty much ended, again, everything has been off with the date numerology since the weekend before the Super Bowl. So the week there was no NFL action. And then callers pointing out yesterday how, NBA is revolutionizing gambling and getting more people involved and more things to bet on online. They're shifting somehow the dynamic of the way the games are scripted. But we did come back to that overall series record. Again, it was the 114th game, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 114. More often than not, that one's a winner too. So we're going to have to evolve as this rigging system is seemingly evolving before our eyes. It makes me mad that the date numerology doesn't hit like it used to, because, I mean, that made things a lot easier before. All right, coming back to this. What I was saying is Virginia looked like the team with the more classic way we look at these games. For people who are new here, I want you to know that when you go to Gematria, I feel like years ago I used to do better at picking games, and it was easier because I didn't know reverse Gematria. So, like, for example, I was just looking at these ciphers when I was picking games, the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. And I know that the reverse ciphers fit in, absolutely. Case in point, what we just saw in the Super Bowl. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 307. That's in reverse. I wouldn't have saw that years ago. I would have saw the 206 and how the AFC was going for its 26th Super Bowl, and that would have been enough for me. But the reverse does tell us things. It was Brady's 307th playoff game, or not playoff, game all time in that stadium. And again, that's the 63rd prime. He became 6-3. So I'm just sharing thoughts with you guys right now. Both of the 203 thing was in reverse, and I've just seen a number of times now where I've come off my pick in the last year plus because of something like North Carolina 203, North Carolina Tar Heels 101. And I mean, it is safer to acknowledge that, because I mean, you might be kicking yourself at the end of the night that you didn't go that way. But notice yesterday, my initial thought was Virginia. Looking at the classical numbers, I liked Virginia. The 23rd game getting the 9th conference win. 23, the 9th prime. That coach staying on 88 losses. I wish we'd stayed there. But we did see what could have been. And I mean, I'm glad we saw it because we learned from it. But I just want you guys to understand, sometimes when you start looking at too many things, it'll throw you off the mark. And I'm realizing that these, looking at a number like 203 is 20-3. Sometimes it does work out that way, but it seems that maybe even more often than not, it doesn't. So I'm starting to wonder if maybe I should just like throw that out of the repertoire, just ignore that. We saw that with Kansas and TCU as well. TCU Horned Frogs equals 173. Had they won last night, the record between these teams all time would have been 17-3. And remember, before we looked at that, I liked Kansas because 19th win, 8th conference win, the prime number relationships. I've known that prime numbers are big in this sports thing for a long time. And I realized that watching college basketball. It was a Villanova game where I was like, okay, I'm not sleeping on the prime numbers anymore. That was years ago now. But 19, the 8th prime. And there it is, 19-8. The 18s are big on ESPN. Kansas got their 18th win against TCU. And TCU fell to 17-7, also prime numbers, 17-7. So the initial reads on the college games were right last night. We started to look at what the series records could have been and got a little bit more creative, and it didn't help us out. So I just want to reinforce these things before we get into today's, because we got to learn from our mistakes. And again, just from doing this week after week, I know that a lot of times where I go wrong, it's because I do something like that, like, oh shoot, North Carolina's 203. Yeah, they could be 20-3. And it usually doesn't go that way. It usually doesn't. The prime numbers are better. The prime numbers are definitely better. They prevail more. Not always either, but more often. That's for sure. Okay, so let's get on with today's, so we don't end up here at afternoon like we did yesterday. Again, our date numerology. It's the 43rd day of the year, the 14th prime, leaving 322 days remaining, old 322. We got 53 date numerology, the 16th prime. We got 26 date numerology. We got 17, the 7th prime. We got 33. We got 14. So numbers to keep in mind as we look at our series records. But again, we're going to look at it because it's what we've done. But we also have to say, okay, the last few weeks, date numerology has not been the tell-all for these games. Not even close. It's around 50-50 going on 3 weeks. This is going to be the Lakers' 59th game, the 17th prime. It just makes me think about how LeBron joined on July 1st, coming over from the 17th state. The one potential 17 on the board is them getting their 17th away loss, and Hawks equals 17. So right away, I see a potential upset. And we got the 17 date too. Plus Hawks is 17. So when you got a city name and a date numerology, that makes it more powerful. Let's see what the Hawks and Lakers head-to-head is here. You guys should know I'm wearing sunglasses this morning. My left eye is killing me so bad, and I'm noticing these sunglasses are helping. It's the 330th game here. The 330th. This is now I'm mad. The Lakers can get their 191st win. The reason this hurts is because that's the 43rd prime. 191 is the 43rd prime. Now we got a narrative for both teams. Lakers can get their 191st on the 43rd day of the year, or they can get that 17th away loss against the Hawks. So this is going to make things tough. The Lakers barely beat the Hawks at home earlier this year, November 11th. So this will be the last game of this season. I want to see how many days ago that was. $93 days. Okay. 93. Let's see if see what the Hawks record is at home against the Lakers here all time. So this 67 and 128. Okay. That includes games that are more than just the regular season, I believe. Yeah, must be including the old Hawks franchise. Okay, so are these teams on any kind of streaks? That's my next question. The Hawks are on a 3-game losing streak. So when you look at things like that, just like think about the number relationship. When you add 1 through 3 together, it's 6. When you add 1 through 4 together, it's 10. Like if this was February 10th, I'd be thinking, okay, today makes sense for the 4th straight loss, but it's not. It's the 12th. So just the kind of things I think about when I look at the numbers. Lakers on a 1-game losing streak. They just lost to Philadelphia. Okay, let's look at LeBron's all-time stats against the Hawks. Maybe there's something there. All right, so LeBron, wow. Wow, that's a lot of wins. 39 wins, 15 losses. That means LeBron could get his 16th loss today. And the reason that matters is because it's a 53-date numerology, the 16th prime. So, let me just check something here. Hawks is 28-2. What was the record here? The Lakers are 28-28. The only thing about the Lakers is I just wonder if they're going to end up in losing territory, you know, with LeBron on the team. I mean, that happened at the start of the season, but they haven't been there since. Atlanta. Go with anything today. Atlanta's 120. It is the 120th day of the season. Whoops, clicked the wrong thing there. What did I just do? Okay, so I just got to rate this game that I don't like it because of the fact that the Lakers can get their 191st win in the regular season against the Hawks, which is the 43rd prime on the 43rd day of the year. Because, I mean, that riddle alone sounds good, but the problem is, again, it's their... Oh, wait, I screwed up earlier. I said it was their 59th game. It's not. It's their 57th game. Did some bad math. But still, what still concerns me is they can get their 17th away loss on a 17 date and Hawks equals 17. So that 59 thing is wrong. It's not the 59th game. But still, it is a 17 date and Hawks is 17. And again, I don't like a game where you can make a narrative either way. And both of those narratives are relatively strong. Let me just look at the name of the arena just in case. Oh. Atlanta, Georgia's 59, though, the 17th prime. So, yeah, I just either one of those narratives has too much of a narrative to play. Let me if Hawks lose this game, they head into the next game against New York with 39 losses. Okay, that's a thought. But they could also theoretically pick up that 39th loss against New York, you know? So, because, I mean, it's no guarantee that they're going to walk into New York with 39 losses. They could just as easily get it there. And, I mean, if the Hawks walk into New York with 38 losses, I'd assume that they are going to get that 39th loss against New York. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. The New York riddle, if they lose through February 26th, is really amazing. And it could happen. It could happen. But again, I mean, the thing we have to keep in mind is we just saw an awesome riddle for the Jazz to lose to the Hawks, right? I mean, it couldn't have been any more perfect. The prime number relationship, everything, and that didn't happen. So sometimes we see these very strong possibilities in numbers and they don't play out. I mean, it's still good to acknowledge them. If you guys think that they're going to walk into New York with 39 losses, which is very possible, by all means, go for it. I'm just telling you. The Lakers also can get that 17th loss on the 17 date against the Hawks 17. So you got a double whammy on that 17. And like we just looked at, Atlanta, Georgia's 59, the 17th prime. The one part, but again, so you can make a narrative either way. If you think that them going into New York with 39 losses is where it's at, and New York is going to follow that loss pattern through February 26th, which is possible, then go for it. But my advice is I would just stay away from that game. I think we're going to find some better games to pick here. So let's move ahead, and maybe by the end when we review, somebody will come up with something brilliant. Celtics 35-21. So this is their 57th game. They're 13-13 away, 27th road game. It's the 76ers 57th game too. This one's on TNT. TNT's our 18 network, but I don't see any net 18s on the board here. Okay. Just thinking about numbers. Does anything jump out? All right, let's see what the head-to-head is between these teams. These were our Eastern Conference teams that played opening night. All right, it's the 447th game. 76ers going for that magic number 187. Boston Celtics at 260. I think Boston, Massachusetts equals 260. Yeah, it does. Massachusetts was established on February 6th, 2-6. Part of the reason that team brought home the 26th AFC championship. Okay, so what is that? That's plus 74. They're plus 74. The Celtics over the 76ers. The 76ers have lost both games this year. This is the first one in Philly. Are these teams in the same division or just same conference? They are in the same division. Okay, let's look at some division records here. Could get a tell here. Boston's 9-3 in the division. Philadelphia is 5-7. I'm just thinking if Philadelphia wins, they're 6-7, which is the reflection of 76. You know, they opened up the season on the day, leaving 76 days left in the year, but they did lose on that day. Boston won. If the 76ers won, they'd stay at 14 losses in the conference on the 43rd day of the year, 43, the 14th prime. Boston's next wins their 26, that magic number. When did these teams last play? December 25th. So they played 49 days ago. 49. That's the revelation number. Philadelphia name from Revelation. And the other revelation number is 121. Boston won that game with 121. What are the streaks right now for these teams? 76ers 1-2. Boston lost 2. I turned on ESPN last night. I was probably only watching it for about 10 minutes. I saw the Corey Maggette story, and then I saw one of the Celtics getting interviewed, and he was talking about how his team doesn't have any fun. He's jealous of the other teams because they're all having so much fun, and the Celtics aren't. Let's see. What? Whoops. Wrong thing there. Remember, 76ers, when you do the gematria, it's best to just leave off the 76 because technically you're not supposed to add those numbers. You can, but 76ers gematria should be like this. '76ers could get their 21st loss, but Celtics don't have a connection to that number and not the date either. Maybe this is a game to look at the coaches here. I'm going to go to the chat before I look at the coaches, just in case anybody's spitting something out. I thought, Denham, we got almost all the games right yesterday, man. I don't know. Yesterday was a bad day for you. Okay, I don't see anyone saying about this game. Okay, let's look at the coaches real quick, just in case there is something here, because I don't see anything necessarily in the numbers of the date. Brett Brown. Okay, going for 164 the winner, 304th loss. I don't see anything there with that. His birthday is just days away. He's born on the 47th day of the year. That's actually a good birthday for Philadelphia 216. Because Philadelphia is the city that's associated with the Kia David 216. Oh, let's see. This is the guy from Zion, right? Brad Stevens. So the game's just before the Philadelphia coach's birthday. Brad Stevens. His next loss is his 211th. His next win is his 257th. So that stands out to me. His next win is his 257th. That's the 55th prime. Boston, Massachusetts is 55, but this game's not in Boston, Massachusetts. Damn. Make sure I'm not missing something with TNT. Let's see how many days it is from his birthday. October 22nd. Oops. The National Basketball Association 113 to the 30th prime number. It's also a span of 114 days. That's the Celtics coach right there. What's up, caller?
I just actually in Nebraska. My phone's dead, so I have to call you on my text app. Are you in the live stream right now?
Yeah.
All right. I had a quick decode for a few games. Well, I don't have a decode. Well, I do have a decode, but I'm headed back to work, so I'm trying to hurry up, Zach. But I noticed on ESPN app, when they show like the games or the game cast, they always have the players to watch.
Right.
I don't know if you ever decoded those players to watch with the upcoming game, but I just did that today, and it's some pretty interesting correlations. For instance, the Celtics, those players, Celtics Philly game players to watch was Al Horford and Joel Embiid, right?
Right.
Okay. Al Horford's B-Day, his previous B-Day was 8 months and 9 days ago. Philadelphia equals 89. It's also 3 months and 22 days from his upcoming birthday. Today leaves 322 days left in the year. It's also 15 weeks and 6 days from his upcoming birthday. Philadelphia 76ers and Boston Celtics both equal 156 in the English ordinal. Joel Embiid, his upcoming birthday, well, it's 32 days from Joel Embiid's upcoming birthday. Boston equals 32. Also, it's 1 month and 4 days before Joel Embiid's upcoming B-Day, and today is the 43rd day of the year. 43 is the fourth team prime number. And just looking at the players to watch for instance, Los Angeles versus the Hawks. Cal Kuzma is a player to watch for, and John Collins. Cal Kuzma's last B-Day was 6 months and 2 days ago. 62. Where's that 62? Sorry about that. Hawks equals 62. It's also a span of 4 months and 2 weeks from John Collins' last B-Day. You got LeBron James and the Lakers both equals 42 and reverse full reduction. I mean, I got more. I just got to get back to work, Zach. But just start maybe decoding the players to watch every game. Like they always have 2 players to watch. Maybe just start decoding those guys. Like John Collins' next B-Day is 7 months and 11 days from now, from today's game, 7-11. It's also a span of 223 days before his next B-Day. You know, today leaves 322 days left in the year. So I thought that was really weird. Like every player to watch for every single game has some kind of correlation with today's game. So maybe start decoding players to watch also, Zach.
Yeah, it's a good thought. Yeah, I think you got a good point there. I appreciate that tip.
All right, Zach. I'll catch you later, man.
All right, have a good day. Thank you. Yeah, that might be something that we can start doing there. There probably is the reason they throw these players out here, and with the new online gambling, that's what people are betting on, who's going to have the best fantasy game. I noticed right away Kyle Kuzma's 19.1. That's like how they're going for their 191st win, huh? The 43rd prime. And all right, we can do that. This game, I don't see any super strong numbers. The only thing that's staring out at me is that 22, because Boston equals 22. This game's not in Boston, but 22 connects to Revelation. There's 22 chapters in Revelation. So it's like, is there some number I'm missing here? Celtics 71, the 20th prime. Celtics. All right, we'll come back to this game. I want to find a game where we got a strong read. There's not a strong read in this game because the numbers don't go with the date or even the city names. There's got to be some riddle there, though, that we're overlooking. These games open the season. It is the 120th day of the season. You could also say it's 119 days later. I'm just trying to think if that number reflects. Notice Philadelphia is a 6.5-point favorite. We know Philadelphia equals 65. We just saw the Penguins pick up their 65th season points last night over Philly. All right, Spurs, Grizzlies. So here's something that stands out. Spurs equals 33. We do have 33-date numerology, and they can get their 33rd win tonight. See if there's anything else that goes here with this. All right, let's see. Are these teams in the same division? Yeah, they are. All right, let's look at the division records real quick, or standings. Got so zoomed out. Let's see. All right, Spurs 23-19 in the conference, 7-5 in the division. And the Grizzlies 5 and 6, 15 and 20. So the Grizzlies can get their 21st conference loss. Spurs is 21 as well as 33. We just saw the Blazers become 33 and 21 against the Spurs not that many days ago. Okay, what is going on here? I'm going to reset these windows. This is annoying me. All right, let's see. There we go. All right, so the Spurs look like they got a good read so far. Let's see. Going to be the 95th game. The Spurs lead 70-24. Now, we know the Memphis Grizzlies like that 25 number, but that doesn't mean they have to get it today because there's no connection to the date in 25 today. 26 is the date numerology today. The Spurs would stay at 26 losses with a win as well. What was the win streaks here? Spurs are on a 4-game losing streak, huh? The Grizzlies are on a 1-game winning streak. Did the Spurs get that 4th loss on the 10th? Was that their last game? Let me see. I think they got their last I think they got that loss on the 10th. And again, if you had 1 through 4, it equals 10. Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't that day. No, they must have got it Saturday the 9th. Okay, so that's not true anyway. But Spurs seemingly do have good numbers here. I don't see the connection for the Grizzlies to the date or the team. Spurs got the date in their favor. Let me run one more thing real quick. Yeah, I like the Spurs here. I see nothing for the Grizzlies. I see some good connections for the Spurs. What have these teams done on the season? Spurs lost at home, really. And they won at home, and they lost in Memphis. So they last played 34 days ago. 34. Last played 34 days ago. Memphis 34. The game's back in Memphis. Yeah, I don't see any indicators in favor of the Grizzlies. And that's a good point about the 33rd win in Tennessee. That's one more thing I forgot. Tennessee has that connection to 33 because it's 137, the 34, 137, the 33rd prime. So I like the Spurs here. They got date, they got location, they got team name reasoning. So I think that's the kind of game I like to look for. All right, Magic Pelicans. So something similar here. The problem is either team can get their 33rd loss, but Magic equals 33. God, either team can get their 26th win too, and we got 26 date numerology. How's this going to happen? Let's see if there's some tiebreaker in the head-to-head. All right, right, so the Pelicans are +1. The Magic have 17 wins. It's a 17-day. It doesn't necessarily mean they'll stay there. These teams have not played yet this year. So when do they play again? Sometimes by looking ahead, you can see date numerology might line up with a series win down the road. All right, so they play again March 20th. That's the 79th day of the year. And I believe Orlando's 79. That is. 79 is the 22nd prime. Basketball's 22. Nobody can get their 22nd series win, so that doesn't really help. Orlando. Magic. Okay. Maybe a dumb thought, maybe not. The Magic, so they haven't played yet this year, right? And their series records are 17-18. Kind of like how last year when they last played was the 2017-18 season. I'm wondering if they could split again this year. Maybe they're using these teams as some sort of tracker for the season count. If the Magic won one, if the Pelicans won one, they'd be 18-19, 2018-19. It's just a thought. Doesn't mean it's going to go that way. But yeah, this one's here. Let's look at the streaks real quick. It's out of conference game. Pelicans are on a 1-game losing streak. Magic are on a 3-game winning streak. Okay, so the Magic are the hotter team. They're on the road. It's the 58th game for the Magic and the 58th game for the Pelicans. The only thing I could say that that gives the Pelicans the edge is they can get okay. It's a 17 date, right? It's a 17 date, so they could get their 17th win on the 17 date. It's also a 53 date where 53 is the 16th prime, but I think the number being straight up 17 on the 17th day plays a little better. That's the only reason I could say to maybe favor the Pelicans, but this game can go either way. 26 date numerology, 33 date numerology, Magic equals 33. Do you have to zoom in further to get those players to watch? I've shown that before, but now I don't see it. Let's see. Is anybody sitting out for this game? Odd Shark. Pelicans. Magic. Says both teams are playing good defense this month. This isn't the typical breakdown. Let's see. Trying to see if there's any tell in any of these stats. I don't see anything necessarily. see if we can get something in the series records. So New Orleans at home against Orlando, 11-7. New Orleans' Pelicans is 79-2 like Orlando, and they're meeting again on the 79th day of the year. Pelicans is 79, that's right. Pelicans does have that connection to 33 as well. So Magic's 33, Pelicans 137 to 33rd prime. New Orleans equals 45, 4.5-point favorite at home. Yeah, it's too tight to make a definitive call. If the Magic won, it would put an 11 in their away column for the wins and 11 losses in the home column for the Pelicans. And I'm just realizing that would keep them at 17 away losses on the 17 date and keep them at 16 wins on the 53 date, 53 the 16th prime. But yeah, it's just the numbers are too iffy there. They really can go either way. Yeah, I think the smartest thing is to stay away from this game. It's just the numbers are too perfect for either way. If you're somebody who's in something where you have to make a pick for each game, I always recommend that in a close game, a tight narrative, just go with the home team because, statistically, home teams win more often than not. So, but yeah, the numbers are too overlapping there. Okay, so Jazz are another team here. They can get their 33rd win on this date with 33 numerology, but they're playing the Warriors. The Oakland can get, or they're Golden State, but they play in Oakland. Oakland equals 22. They can get their 22nd win at home, and Utah is also 22. That stands out. And again, the date numerology hasn't been so great for us. So I'm giving more points to city and nickname gematria alignment than I am date numerology. This game's in TNT. TNT's the 54. Oracle's 54. Let's see. The Warriors could get their 16th loss on this 53 date. That's a numerology thing, but 22. It's really hard to go against the Warriors with 22-7 on the board. Those are the pi numbers. The over/unders at 227. Of course, it is. Again, Steph Curry's born on Pi Day. 22 divided by 7's pi. Klay Thompson's full name equals 314, like how pi is 3.14. It's hard to imagine the Warriors not getting to 22-7. Again, Utah's 22. Let's see what the head-to-head is here with these teams. $184th game. Funny, Utah's at 108 wins right now. Oracle's also 108. So is Golden State Warriors. Can Steph Curry sign that record contract 108 days from his birthday? Geometry equals 108, bringing it back to the pi riddle. The Warriors' next win. Oh, no, never mind. I was reading that backwards. The Jazz are at 108, so they're at the geometry number for this game that's seemingly a geometry riddle. The Warriors' next wins their 76th, and now they're from Philadelphia. They always get the riddles with the 76ers. Let's see. Warriors played. Is this the last game between these teams? All right, let's see the conference standings. They can get their the Jazz can get their 16th conference loss. Again, 53 date numerology, 16th prime. So either team has a chance at a 16 loss in one column. I got to go with the Warriors here. That 2-2-7, just knowing what we know about this team, the geometry riddles, the pi riddles. I mean, how's that not going to happen? So Golden State also sums to 41. So that makes sense. They get their 22nd home win and 41st win of the season at home. Golden State 41. Oakland 22. Most pure ciphers. Oakland's also 41. Look at that. Forgot about that when you flip the alphabetic order around. The problem is they're a 9-point favorite, so it's not a great payout, but I'd say that's probably the safest pick of the day right there. What's the other TNT game? So, okay. So maybe that's how we need to think about it. Maybe that's the riddle. These games are both on TNT, the Warriors and the Jazz, and the Warriors can get their 76th win the night the 76ers play before them. Maybe Philadelphia represents tonight. It's a thought. Because what are the odds that they're going for their 76th win on this doubleheader night where Philadelphia opens it up first? And again, both these teams played and the season began on the day leaving 76 days left in the year. So that could be a riddle. That could be the riddle. What's the symbolism of 37? I want to see how many days it is to the NBA Finals, you guys. Let me see. It starts May 30th. Finals start May 30th. $107 days. It's also a span of 108 days. Okay. There's got to be something, man. I can't think of what the symbolism of 37 would be in this game. There's got to be something there. The other thing I should mention for the Warriors is today's date, February 12th, 12/2. Oakland's on the 122nd meridian, and Golden State's also 122. So, yeah, I think this is the safest pick of the day in the NBA. Jazz over Warriors to beat the Jazz. I don't know if they'll cover the spread. Never know about that. I think that all just depends on where the money's at. But them getting that 41st win and 22nd win at home, Oakland 22-41, that's a big one. And Utah's also 22. And just the fact that they can get that 76th win just makes me think that there's an alignment here with the 76ers. What was the 76ers Celtics head-to-head again? You know how the 76ers just had that 187 ritual against Oakland when they beat them? Remember that? They just made them 18-7 at home. And what was it? They got their 187th win. Was it all time? Or was it it might have been all time. I forget what it was. There was some other 187th win in that game. What was it? Oh, yeah, it was including the playoffs. That's what it was. It was all time. So now I see that 187 on the board, and we just saw a riddle with the Warriors and 76ers and 187. See, there it is. The 76ers have 21 wins in the playoffs, plus 166, 187. They made the Warriors 18-7 at home. So I'm thinking that this is it. I'm thinking this is the riddle tonight. I'm thinking the 76ers do get the Celtics. They get that 187th win, which again is a biblical number. Philadelphia is a biblical city. And Warriors get it done against Utah. So that's what I like for the TNT doubleheader. I think that's what the numbers tell us. Okay. Let me go to the chat, and then we'll move on to college basketball. That's right. That's right, the glitch in your matrix. Great point. Philadelphia from Revelation 3:7. There it is. I knew there was something there. Thanks, man. You're doing great work. So Glitch in Your Matrix says about today, it's also 227 days to the Society of Jesus and Steve Kerr's birthday, which must mean September 27th. Jazz would get franchise loss 18-11. Huh. The Society of Jesus. Huh, very interesting. Okay, but the thing about 227, it's the 49th prime, and again, it's 49 days after Boston and Philadelphia last played. Philadelphia will be 1-2 against Boston on the season, right? 37 is the 12th prime. So, yeah, I'm going to ride with that. I like the Warriors getting that 76th win and that being a tribute to the 76ers, the doubleheader tonight. So, in case you got here late, I think this Lakers-Hawks game is a stay away. Again, just to review, 17-date numerology, Hawks equals 17. It concerns me that the Lakers could get their 17th loss. Atlanta, Georgia equals 59, the 17th prime. The thing for the riddle for the Lakers is they get their 191st regular season win against the Hawks, which is the 43rd prime on the 43rd day of the year. And that would also give the Hawks their 17th home loss on this 17 date. And then they get their 39th loss before facing New York. And then they could stay on 39 losses facing New York because we have Glitch in Your Matrix came up with the riddle for why we might see the Knicks lose all of their games through February 26th, which is a real possibility. So if the Knicks are going to lose all their games, it makes sense for the Lakers to win this game because of that riddle, if you thought about what I just said. But just the fact that there's numbers on the board for the Lakers to get beat makes it dangerous to me. So Celtics 76ers, it was hard to figure out what this game was until we looked at the Warriors game. And now I feel good about the 76ers because this is the doubleheader on TNT, and the Warriors can get their 76th win against Utah tonight. Spurs Grizzlies, I like the Spurs here. 33 dates, Spurs equals 33. Tennessee equals 137, the 33rd prime. Seems like a good team to pick up number 33 against. Magic, Pelicans, these teams have the same numbers and they connect to the date, so I just say stay away from that game. Can make too good of an argument either way. And then the Warriors, Oakland equals 41 and 22. Golden State equals 41. 41 and 22, 227 pie numbers, the pie team. Since opening night before the games were even played, I said I favor the Warriors and Celtics to meet in the finals. Again, that's because the NBA finals start on a date with 54 numerology. Oracle equals 54. The Celtics snapped the record winning streak of the Warriors at home with 54 games. I said if I'm wrong about the Celtics, it might very well be Warriors and 76ers tonight. So really watch this game and watch what happens with both of these games because, like I just pointed out, it's 108 days, a span of 108 days from the start of the NBA Finals. And Oracle's also 108. So I could be wrong about Warriors and Celtics. Maybe it is going to be Warriors and 76ers. But don't forget, the opening night, the Warriors and the Celtics won, and they won with a combined 213 points. So I'm not coming off it yet, but always got to be aware of the other potential narrative out there. And if it's not Warriors and Celtics, I am pretty sure it's going to be Warriors and 76ers. So maybe we'll get a big clue tonight. All right, let's do here, let me check the chat before I move on. Oh, Ron sees a potential riddle for LeBron James' 78th triple-double. His next is going to tie Wilt Chamberlain. I have a feeling he has to get it against a team that Wilt Chamberlain played for. That's usually the way they do these things. Not always, but Cleveland also equals 78. He could, I don't know when they, or I don't think they play Cleveland again this year. LA, Philly, San Francisco Warriors. Who's TOT? See, this is before my time. I'm not sure who TOT is. Like a Toledo, Ohio team? Figure out who that TOT team is now. All right, we're already an hour into this. Let's move on to college basketball. Make sure I didn't miss any valuable comment here. That's a good point about staying on 260 wins, 260 chapters in the New Testament. Okay, Playboy said I'm not checking the chat well enough. Playboy says 44 days from Luke Walton's birthday. Georgia 44. And is it Atlanta, Georgia's 193? Maybe it's something else. Atlanta Hawks is 193, the 44th prime. "30 days from Steph Curry's birthday." Yeah, one more little pie thing there. Good observation. Ron likes Steph or LeBron to get that triple-double. Okay. You guys, if I'm not seeing your important comment, I mean, feel free to call me. You know, again, the number. If there's something you really want me to see, just always give me a call. I got to keep this thing moving, though, so we're not here all day. All right, let's see. College basketball. Let's do this. And then we'll do hockey. And then we'll call it a day. All right, so again, our date numerology. 43rd day of the year, the 14th prime. 53 date numerology, 26, 17, 33, 14. And our prime number relationships are 53 is the 16th prime, 17 is the 7th. So these are our numbers we want to consider as we look at these basketball games. Purdue's on 17. They could potentially stay there. Boilermakers versus Terrapins. All right, let's look at the head-to-head. Maryland. That's going to be the 8th game. And Purdue leads 5-2. So, two things to consider here. With a loss, they'll be 5-3 on the 53 day. That's one thing to consider. The other is it's the 8th game, and 19's the 8th prime. So Maryland can get its 19th win and make it 5-3 on the 53 day. If Purdue lost, they'd be 17-7 on the 17 date, 17 the 7th prime. Let's got a number of games today to do. Whoa. Okay. Right here. Purdue, Boilermakers, Boilermakers. Right. Terrapins. Maryland Terrapins. All right. See this network, see if it has anything. BTN 18. Purdue basketball coach. Matt Painter. He's going for his 313th win all time, which is the 65th prime, or his 156th loss. Now, what's interesting about that 156th loss is when you write out 33 as a word, it equals 156. And we have this 33 date numerology today. So he can get his 156th loss today. Mark Turgeon, let's see. His next loss is symbolic. His next loss is his 88th, and Maryland's 88. This game's in Maryland. He could theoretically get his 88th loss tonight. I think Maryland has the better riddle here, though. I think Maryland has the better riddle. Again, improving to 5-3 in the series on the 53 date. Purdue staying at 17 wins on the 17 date, getting their 7th loss. And Maryland can get their 19th win of the season in the 8th matchup against Purdue. So I think that's the better riddle here. Prabhu says from Painter's birthday today is 24 weeks in one day, kind of like 241, the 53rd prime. So I think the 53 plays to Maryland. So you're thinking if they lose, they fall to 187. Well, Washington, D.C. has the 187 connection, but Maryland's campus isn't in Washington, D.C. College Park. They're in College Park. College Park, MD 67, the 19th prime. Also kind of like today's date, 12/2. Also, 59 can keep that other team at 17 wins. 59, the 17th prime. I personally think Maryland has the better riddle here. I think they got the better riddle. It's not super strong, but I think they got the better numbers for today. That's my take on that game. LSU, Kentucky. Let's see. Is anything screaming out about the date? All right, let's see the head-to-head. I don't see the I don't see anything for the date there with that game. All right, Kentucky. It's going to be the 109th game, and LSU has 26 wins, and we have the 26th date, so I feel like it's a good day to stay on 26. The next win for Kentucky's 83. Kentucky. It's also the 109th game, which is the 29th prime. Notice Kentucky's 29 in the most pure cipher. Kentucky's also 43, 43rd day of the year. Kentucky Wildcats. Anyone going for 21? Kentucky Wildcats is 231, the 21st triangular. They can get their 21st win today. The Tigers is 33. It is date with 33 numerology. LSU Tigers. Wildcat is 53, 53 date. Hello, caller.
Hey, Zach. It's Greg from Reno again. Just got a question for you, man. I love the way that these games are aligned.
Are you still there?
TNT. Hello?
Oh, go. You cut out for a second.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. I love the alignment on these games, and I'm just, my fear is, Zach, I'm just going to be real brief, because I know you've been on here for an hour and a half or so, or 2 hours. When you are so liking one team, and you tell your listening audience that you're doing that, do you think that sets off a chain reaction with the NBA?
Sometimes they might be messing with us with some of these games. The thing about the Warriors game is that 41 and 22 and the pie thing. I feel like some of these riddles they can't mess with because of how tight the scripts are for some of these players' career. Like Steph Curry and pie is just something that happens for him game after game, season after season. So
yeah, and you know what? That's why I don't understand. Maybe you can just shed some light on this just to make me feel a little bit more. I don't know. I don't feel a little bit more something like that time where you said that LeBron James and the Lakers were going to win to become 16 and 11, and they were going to do it because the Bible, King James Bible, had was. And
they did. They became 16 and 11.
Yeah, exactly. These strong riddles, they hit, and I'm just wondering why why the strong ones hit, and then I might be answering my own question, but why the strong ones hit, and then some of the other ones they just fall by the wayside. I mean, maybe you can.
Sure. So I know what you're saying. Like we had a really good riddle with the who was it? It was the Rockets and the Jazz a little more than a week ago. I mean, the numbers were strong on both sides, and that game didn't play out. And what it made me think of is Well, the Rockets last game we were on the wrong side of too, and they had the good numbers there. I'm wondering if they're flipping some of these games, and then since they flipped the game prior, then they got to flip the next one too to get it back on the path. So, you know, I don't know if some stuff like that's going on that's killing some of our reads, but some of these teams that are destined for the finals and they're on the championship season, it's just like, you know, I don't know if they can mess with their riddles. It's like they're on a train track that's going somewhere and it can't come off that track. That's kind of the way I feel.
Okay, Zach, that was enlightening. Thank you very much, and I'll listen offline. Thank you.
All right, yeah, you're welcome, man. And it's all theory, but I mean, there's definitely something up with the NBA the last 3 weeks. So I'm still trying to figure it out on the go as we go. All right, this Kentucky LSU game. You know what I want to do, you guys? We're going to be here until 1 in the afternoon if we don't do this faster. Again, if you want to go with these college games, I advise that you take the time to run the coaches real quick and just see if you get an alignment with the coach. The Kentucky LSU game seems to favor Kentucky because of the date numerology. So games, there's just a lot of games to go through here. I don't want to do this until 1 in the afternoon. But if there's a game that you want to make a play on, I advise you measure for the coach just to see if you can get any, you know, added reasoning for your pick. But Kentucky seems to have the better numbers here. Plus, I mean, they're a considerable favorite. They're at home, and they got the date on their side. And the date numerology has been very good for us for college basketball and even the NHL. It's just the NBA that's burning us the last 3 weeks. All right, Michigan State, Wisconsin. Okay, this game's on ESPN. Michigan State's been getting upset a lot recently. And ESPN and the upset number is 18. Now, this wouldn't be much of an upset because they're only a 1.5 point favorite on the road. Let's see what the head-to-head is here. Going to be the 132nd game and 74-57. So, unfortunately, those aren't numbers that go with our dates. Wisconsin, Badgers. Spartans. Michigan State. Somebody's at 57 right now. It's Wisconsin that's at 57 wins. Michigan State, Spartans. So we don't have anything to help us with the date numerology in this game, and nothing clear with the city names either. We have seen a real strong pattern with ESPN in 18, though, and can't overlook that Wisconsin does have a real shot at their 18th win tonight. So here, just real quick. I can't do this for every game, but I just want to do it for Wisconsin, Michigan State. It's probably worth a look here. Wisconsin basketball coach, Craig Gard. Let's see. Weird. That's 75 on the board again. He's at 43 losses on a 43 day. You could stay there. You could stay there. Is it oh, what's Michigan State? Izzo? Is Izzo still the coach? He's got to be, right? Let me just check. I don't watch much sports anymore. Yeah, it still Izzo. Okay. And what's his name equal anyway? He's a household name. Izzo, 14. 40. Tom Izzo, 43. Okay. Could he stay at 43 losses against Izzo? His next loss is his 231st, the 21st triangular win number. His next win's an even number, so it's not prime. Tom Izzo. Well, there's nothing to go off with the date numerology. The only thing that we've seen playing a lot is 18 and ESPN. So I got to acknowledge that Wisconsin's going for win number 18. And again, if the Wisconsin coach loses, he stays at 43 losses against Tom Izzo on a date with 43 numerology. Keep in mind, his next loss is symbolic too because he coaches for Wisconsin, and 44 is the Wisconsin number. But I got to say, I favor Wisconsin there. Still not a lot to go off of. Buffalo, Akron. Okay, it's the 24th game. 24th game for both teams. What's Akron's nickname? The Zips, huh? That's a funny name. Akron Zips. 59, the 17th prime. Nobody's going for 17. And I forget what's Buffalo's nickname. The Bulls, okay. So they're the 25 seed. And what did I just see? Zips is 25, so they're facing the 25 seed. Buffalo Bulls. It's going to be the 43rd game. How about that? The 43rd game. And Akron leads 23-19. 23, the 9th prime. Get back here. So Akron is 23, which is the 9th prime number. And I'm realizing that Buffalo can get their 9th win in the MAC conference. So it is a good team to get the 9th win against. Yeah, I got to favor Buffalo because of that. That's the only rhyme and reason I see in that. And then that would make the record 20-23. Little abstract here. Could be coincidental, but if you read it backwards, it's got the 3-2-2, kind of like how today leaves 322 days left in the year. Might have it being yeah. So, yeah, I think Buffalo gets it done there, gets that 9th win against Akron 23. All right, Marquette DePaul. So, DePaul, I see this is going to be their 23rd game of the season. With an upset, they'd stay at 9 losses. Let's see here. Marquette's top 10 team, though. $115th game. They lead 73-41. What's Marquette, like the Golden Eagles or something like that? Golden Eagles, and what's DePaul? Blue Demons. Marquette, Golden Eagles. Golden Eagles. Paul. Paul's got the 33 thing. So Marquette can get their 21st win over DePaul. Oh, wait, I spelled it wrong. Hold on. Got to spell right. Take that back. It didn't work. DePaul, though, is 23, the 9th prime as well. All right, let's see. Blue Demons. '83, 23rd prime. So they got another connection to 83 because 83 is the 23rd prime. I'm just thinking it's their 23rd game. I mean, college basketball loves an upset. That would give them their 42nd win. The only thing about Marquette getting their 74th win in the 115th game is just, just thinking about masonry in these games. Masonic 74, 115. It's the 43rd day of the year. So that one's tight. DePaul, though, they get that win. It's their 14th on the season, 43rd day of the year, 43 to 14th prime. DePaul has a serious narrative to upset here. They do. If only there was no yeah, DePaul's got a narrative to upset, but that one thing that I just showed you about Marquette, this right here, 74th win in 115th game on 43rd day, it just makes me. Let's see the name of this arena. Wintrust Arena, Chicago. What was the next win? Yeah, it's tight, but there's a narrative there for sure. You pull out here. Okay, Michigan, Penn State. Michigan, Penn State. Nothing screaming out here about the dates, but man, Penn State looks like they are just terrible this year. Michigan. '48th game, 35-12. Let's see. Penn State's got the 33 thing. It is the 48th game. Penn State's got the 48 thing going. If Michigan wins, their Big Ten record looks just like the date, doesn't it? 12-2. It's Penn State. The Nittany Lions, right? Yeah. Nittany Lions. Michigan Wolverines. All right. The only prayer for Penn State here is that it's the 48th game between these teams and Penn State equals 48. But what's more likely here is them getting that 16th loss. Again, 53-date numerology, the 16th prime. Michigan's record would look just like the date with the win. So check out the arena real quick. There. When you write out 6, it equals 16 too as well. The 6th seed can give them the 16th loss. But yeah, just The date usually plays in college basketball, so. Duke, Louisville. Let's see. We have the 26th date. If Duke wins, they're 10-1, which looks like 101, the 26th prime. This game is on ESPN. There's an 18 on the board. I didn't miss any other ESPN 18s, did I? No. Okay, so Louisville's prayer right here is to get in that 18th and the upset over Duke. Isn't Coach K's birthday? Let me see something. Is his birthday? Yeah, it is February 13th. I'm just noticing that if Duke lost, today's before Coach K's birthday, and their record would look like his birthday. 2-1-3, 21-3. His birthday's February 13th. Doesn't mean that's going to happen, but let's see what his stats are. He's at 281 losses, the 60th prime. All right, let's see. Duke, Louisville. It's going to be the 16th game, and Duke leads 9-6. Louisville's the Cardinals, right? All right, let's see here. Duke. The 14 connection. Devils. Got the 53 date, 53 connection. Blue Devils. I want to come back here to Duke Blue Devils. You see the 226? Remember, when you write out 226, it has this relationship with 93. It's also got this relationship with 222. Huh, that's funny. They could fall to 22-2. But what I was going to say about the 93 is with a Louisville upset, they would become 9-3 in the ACC. And then you got that 18 on ESPN because we've just seen how hard that number plays. All right, let's check out Louisville. Louisville Cardinals. Cardinals. I think Zion Williamson's birthday is July 6th. Let's see. Is that right? I wanted to just measure from his birthday. Yeah. His birthday is the 187th day of the year, Zion Williamson. Louisville could become 18-7 against Zion, born on the 187th day of the year. Let's see here. $221 days. Also 222. It's his 222nd day of his age. And we just saw, you think they become 22-2 on Zion Williamson's 222nd day of his age? This whole thing's about Zion Williamson. Okay, so I'm just going to let you guys think about that, and you can take it the extra distance if you want. The Louisville narrative is the 18th win, upset, and ESPN equal 18. That makes them 18-7. Zion Williamson born on the 187th day of the year. Or does Duke become 22-2 on Zion Williamson's 222nd day of his age? Somebody pointed out that if Michigan lost, they'd be 22-3 on the day, leaving 322 days left in the year. Again, the prayer for Penn State was that it was the 48th game between these teams, and Penn State equals 48. So, yeah, that is the kind of game that it's amazing that they're only a 6.5-point favorite. I mean, really? So, you know what the thing about Michigan falling to 22-3 is 223 is the 48th prime. There is. I'm glad you pointed that out about there being 322 days left in the year. It's do the homework on the coaches. See if you can find some money alignment. Like maybe the Penn State coach is going for a win number that totals Michigan or Wolverines or Michigan Wolverines. You guys can take it the extra distance. But yeah, that's the kind of game that you'd love to get on the right side of, because yeah, it would be the payout. So Duke, Louisville, we just went over what that narrative could be there. Okay, I'm going to let you guys do that extra homework. We have another ESPN game. Kansas State is the 18 seed. They have 18 wins. ESPN 18. Let's see what it is here for these teams. Which Texas school was it? Just Texas, okay. The old Longhorns. Texas. So this will be the 38th game. And I see something with the date numerology. Kansas State is 21-16 against Texas, which means that they could get their 17th loss on the 17 date. What makes it a little bit tricky is they could stay at 16 losses on the 53 date, 53 the 16th prime. Seems that more often when you get this scenario, it's the number that matches perfectly with the date, trumping the prime number relationship. So, could they stay at 18 on the 18 network? Let's run some gematria here. Longhorns. Longhorns got the date thing going. 12/2. Texas going for their 15th win in Texas, right? So they can potentially get their 15th win tonight. Texas Longhorns. Texas Longhorns 191, the 43rd prime. The only thing about that, though, is 43 is the 14th prime. So they could stay on 14 too. Texas Longhorns. Notice Texas Longhorns equals 65, and they're 6-5 in the division right now. Kansas State. Kansas State's next win is their 22nd. And Kansas State is 22, but that doesn't go with the date numerology. What's their Wildcats? Everybody wants to be the Wildcats. 221. That's not quite like the date. Wildcats is 53, the 16th prime. And again, they have 16 losses right now. They eventually got to get that 17th. Today's a good day for it. If Texas did give Kansas State their 17th Well, it would be their 17th win in the series. If Texas gets their 17th win against Kansas State, 17 is the 7th prime, and they would get their 7th win in the Big 12 too. Oh, I'm noticing that they're even a favorite. Okay, I was thinking I didn't pay attention to that. I was thinking Kansas State would be the favorite. But yeah, I think Texas has pretty good numbers tonight. This Duke Louisville's iffy, but that 222nd day of Zion's age feels like he's the even bigger narrative than Coach K this year. Penn State's got a prayer because it's the 48th game between these teams. Penn State equals 48. If Michigan loses 223, 223, the 48th prime, it's the prayer. But it's a big prayer. DePaul can get that 14th win on the 43rd day of the year, the 14th prime. Again, these games are tight. They're not locks, but I imagine some of these upsets are going to pull out tonight. Akron equaled 23, the 9th prime. We pointed out Buffalo could get their 9th win. Fitting opponent. Akron stays at 14 wins. 43rd day of the year, 43, the 14th prime. Akron didn't really have any good numbers that we could identify. Again, it seems to be the 18 riddle here with ESPN, the Michigan State-Wisconsin game. Kentucky seemed to have the numbers there. And Maryland and Purdue was a little bit iffy too. They could potentially stay at 17 wins on the 17 date, though. Going to go over to NHL, but first just checking the chat. Denham, we've been doing great with NCAA. You guys are here today we don't have a lot of clear reads, but we've been doing really well with NCAA. I don't think it's the hardest to call at all. I don't know where some of your guys' comments from. Haven't you guys been here? I know you've been here, Denham. All right, let's see. NHL. Okay, again, date numerology 53, 26, 17, 33, 14. And it's the 43rd day of the year. So, the Blackhawks are one of the hottest teams in the NHL. Just going to see if we can find. So, the New York team's at 33 wins tonight, facing another New York team. New York 33. Could they stay on 33? They could pick up their 17th loss on the 17 day. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this Islanders Sabres series. No, let's see. Oops. Islanders. So this will be the 170th game. 70 to 72. So the Sabres have a slight edge in wins. Okay. Let's see here. There's Islanders is 101, the 26th prime. Got the 26th date too. Sabres. New York Islanders look like the date, 2-1-2. But the Islanders' record would be perfect with the date numerology with a loss, 33-17. And I was hoping I'd see something between the city name Gematria to give us a little bit more confidence, but the date numerology is there with the record for hockey. The only thing in this Bruins Blackhawks game, well, here we can just look real quick. Bruins win, they stay at 17 losses, but the Blackhawks are hot. All right, let's see. Ooh, that's a lot of games. Yeah, can't get any read off of the potential next win there. All right, let's see. What else is there? Let's see. I was thinking somebody's got to be going for their 33rd win, but so far not. So Tennessee team's on 33 wins, which is interesting because Tennessee's 137, the 33rd prime. Tennessee's also 34, though. They could potentially get their 34th win over the Red Wings. It's going to be the 97th game. Red Wings lead 47-35 in the win-loss column. Nashville's 48 if you use the rule for S. Nashville's also 141, like if you write out 33. Got all sorts of connections to 33. Yeah, there's nothing strong enough there to go off of. Let's see. Find a good one. That game probably wouldn't even be a good payout anyway unless the Red Wings could get the upset. But I don't see enough to believe in it. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Maybe there is a chance for an upset here in this game. The Red Wings, if they win, get 2 points, which would put them at 51, and Nashville's 51. And then that would keep Nashville at 33 wins on the 33 date. And it would give them their 48th win in the series where Nashville's 48th. So take a look at what the payout is on this game. It could be worth the risk. Or maybe just take the puck line because oftentimes it looks like, I mean, it would be quite the upset. The Red Wings aren't a good team this year. But there is something there in the numbers. That 51st point against Nashville. So I see Philadelphia, the home of the flag, flag 26, Philadelphia 101, the 26th prime. They can get their 26th win on this 26 date numerology. That stands out right away. With a win, they'd get their 59th points, the 17th prime. We have 17-date numerology. That would keep the Wild at 59 points. All right, let's see here. I'm liking the Flyers because of the 26. Minnesota Wild. So they can also get their 16th win against this team today on the 53-date numerology. 53, the 16th prime. It would keep the other team at 7 wins on the 17-date numerology. 17, the 7th prime. There's... It'd stay at 24 losses against the Wild, too, and Wild had that 24 connection. I think that's a good sign there for Philly. Let's come back and just look real quick at other people's points. Did anyone else have points connections like that for today? Points are obviously important. The Blues could stay on 59 points, and the Devils could stay on 26 losses. Look at that real quick. .109th game, 38. No, there's nothing strong there. There's nothing strong enough to have confidence. Okay, let's keep looking. Rangers, Jets, nothing with the date numerology. I can't believe nobody's going for their 33rd win today. Coyotes have a chance to stay on 26 losses. The problem with anytime their team's playing the Golden Knights is there's not a lot of game history to go off of. One and 3. They could fall to 1 and 4 on the 43rd day, kind of like 14, 43, the 14th prime. But yeah, not enough to have any confidence there. All right, so Sabres had reason to believe they could get it done against the Islanders. Red Wings, if the payout's enough, it might be worth the risk because they had some decent numbers for today. Getting those 51st points in Nashville. I like the Flyers. I think they have one of the better alignments today. And unfortunately, not a lot of other games lined up with the date. So Dakota points out that Rick Toshit or Toshe get his 137th loss today. He's the Coyotes coach. 137, the 33rd prime. The Arizona Coyotes playing Phoenix on the 33rd parallel, but today they're on the road, right? Today they were on the road playing in Vegas. Yeah, that's a good thought about that 137th loss on the 33-date numerology. Swap says Jackets can get their 15th series win over the Caps in Ohio, 47 the 15th prime, DC's 47. Yeah, the only thing is it doesn't really go with the date, you know, because, I mean, eventually that's going to happen, right? But it is a thought. Here, let's look at somebody asked about the Blackhawks and Bruins. Here, let's look at that more carefully again. So the Bruins are on a 2-game winning streak. The Blackhawks are on a 7-game winning streak. And the question becomes, do they get to 8 in 2019? 19's the 8th prime. The thing about today is it's a day with 17 numerology, 17 the 7th prime, coming with the 7 streak. Who's on this 6-game winning streak? How do I get this off the screen? Come on. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's the Blues. The Blues are hot. Okay. Let's go back here and look at the Bruins head-to-head with the Blackhawks. Oh, yeah. The numbers were too big. There wasn't anything that was going to be primed for the next win. Run the Gematria real quick. Again. Blackhawks. Nothing's popping there. Bruins 43, 43rd day of the year, 14th prime. Thing is, if the Bruins win today, they stay on 17 losses on the 17 day. So I don't see any clear indicator for that game. All right, let's review and then wrap it up just for people who tuned in late. In the NBA, the Lakers and the Hawks, you can make a riddle either way. I think it's a dangerous game. It seems that the chat favors the Lakers. Again, the Lakers could get their 191st regular season win against the Hawks. That's the 43rd prime number. It's the 43rd day of the year. The problem is either team can get their 17th home loss, and today has 17 date numerology, and Hawks equals 17. Atlanta, Georgia equals 59, the 17th prime. So I think this game's a risk. There's no clear read either way. The Celtics 76ers, it was hard to see what could be until, well, I feel a confidence that the 76ers will win because of what the second game is. And just in case you missed this, if the Warriors beat the Jazz tonight, which I expect them to, Oakland equals 41 and 22. They can get their 41st win of the season and their 22nd at home, plus Utah's 22. Good team to do it against. If the Warriors beat the Jazz tonight, they get their 76th win against the Jazz, the 76th. And again, the Warriors are originally from Philly. The Philly team that's there now is the 76ers. You know, these teams have met in a championship before. They both played on the opening day of the season, which began with 76 days left in the year. So if Philadelphia wins, they get their 37th win. Revelation 3-7 about Philadelphia. And the Celtics could get their 22nd loss. There's 22 chapters in Revelation. And if this riddle also corresponds with Oakland's 22. So I just, in light of seeing the 76 on the board for the Warriors, it makes me think that's a good indicator for the 76ers because this is the doubleheader on TNT tonight. And there's often a theme between the two games, the two teams that play on TNT as well as ESPN. Spurs Grizzlies, 33 date numerology. Spurs equals 33. games in Tennessee. Tennessee 137th, 33rd prime. So I didn't see anything great for the Grizzlies there. It's also a 26-date numerology. So the Spurs could have a record that looks just like the date numerology, 33-26. The Magic and Pelicans, the problem is their records correspond perfectly with the date, and they have the same record. So my advice is that if you have to pick every single game, I just go with the Pelicans because they're at home and it's hard to read. If the Pelicans did win, they'd get their 17th home win on a 17 date as well, but low confidence there just because the narrative can read perfectly either way. Orlando is also playing well right now, and the Pelicans aren't in terms of the NBA narrative. And I think the Warriors becoming 22-7 at home, the Pi numbers with Steph Curry, the Pi Day birthday, 30 days from his birthday, number 30, and then the over-under at 227. I think this is probably the clearest pick of the day. Do they cover the spread is the only question. But again, you can always beat that with the money line. So, and again, it's through the Warriors that I think the 76ers have the narrative to beat the Celtics. NCAA review. A lot of tight riddles today. Saturday was awesome. Saturday was great. The riddles were pretty clear because we had that 23-9 thing going Saturday. I hope you won on that, Denim. I heard you say you're doing bad with college basketball. We killed Saturday. We were like, what, 8-1, 9-1? That 23-9 thing took us the distance. Purdue, Maryland, iffy. Does Purdue sit on 17 wins on the 17 date? Because there's not a lot else to go with, I got to ride with the date numerology. Somebody said, what about that 187 thing? That 187 thing hits a lot. Yeah, it does. That's the cause for concern with Maryland. But the 17 date, that's the one that stands out. Kentucky seems to have good numbers to beat LSU. Michigan State's been getting upset a lot in these 18 riddles, and they've been on ESPN. ESPN and upset 18. Somebody's going for 18. Buffalo seems to have the numbers to get it done against Akron. Marquette and DePaul is because DePaul has some good numbers to pull it out here tonight. And it seems like Marquette should be a bigger favorite, doesn't it? So I almost feel like that's a betting trap. I think people are going to go like, wait a minute, only 3 points? Okay, I'm taking Marquette. But DePaul's got some numbers tonight. They do. The prayer for Penn State. Penn State equals 48. It's the 48th game between these teams. Sometimes oftentimes actually we see that where the matchup corresponds with the team. Like yesterday, Minneapolis, Minnesota equals 114. The Timberwolves won. Because Penn State's 48 and it's the 48th game, I think they got a prayer here, even though, they look terrible. If Michigan lost, they'd be 22-3, like 223, the 48th prime. I mean, Michigan, their big thing is they can become 12-2, which is just like the date 12/2, 12th day of the second month. So don't be surprised if Michigan beats Penn State. That's probably what will happen. But there's a narrative on the board here for Penn State. Louisville, their hope is to get the 18th win on ESPN. They could also just as well stay on 17 wins on the 17-date numerology. This game's on Zion Williamson's 222nd day of his age. 2-2-2. And Kansas State, Texas. Kansas State at 18 wins. ESPN 18 upset. Technically, it wouldn't be an upset, though, if Texas won because they're a slight favorite. Texas equals 15. And there's a few other things in there that I think Texas – I have reason to believe Texas will get it done at home and hold off Kansas State. So – and then we just covered the NHL, so if you missed that, we'll wrap it up here. You can just rewind the tape a little bit. It was just before we did the review. I wouldn't bet a lot on Penn State because it's unlikely, but I mean there is a narrative there, and it's the kind of game that'll pay out well. And remember, for those college games, you guys can take it further and measure them with the coaches. All right, we're over 2 hours. We'll wrap it up. Be back tomorrow, same time. Some days we get strong riddles, and other days not so strong. So, and we usually end up spending more time when the riddles are tougher, like today. So those days like Saturday where you get the 23-9 alignments and the games go 23-9 left and right. I mean, those are the days that you live for, understanding this knowledge. And not every day is going to be like that, but some are. So, in case you forgot, Saturday it was the 9th of the month, and it was a date with 23 numerology, and that lined up all day for the college games. Well, I didn't say the Sabres were a lock. Hold on. Let me come back to the NHL real quick just so the question's answered. The Sabres seem to have good numbers to hold the Islanders at 33 wins. Definitely not a lock. The game that looked possibly worth a pick was the Red Wings to upset the Predators, because that would be a good payout game, and the Red Wings... And rather than take the money line for them to win, I'd take the puck line, just because the Red Wings have the numbers to believe that they can get this upset here over the Predators. No. But look, the Red Wings, mediocre. Predators, one of the best teams in the league. The team that I liked the most out of all the games we looked at today was the Flyers to get that 26th win on the 26th date. And that's because that's a number that's also important to Philadelphia. That also give them 59 points on the season, 59 the 17th prime, 17 date. Philadelphia's 101 the 26th prime. So I think out of all the games that we looked at, this Flyers game has the most promise to it. And the risky game with the payout that might be worth a go is the Red Wings to upset the Predators. Just because Nashville's 51. And they can get that 48th series win. Nashville also has the connection to 48. So there's reason to believe in the Sabres, but it's not there's not a whole lot of things line up. What we're counting on is Islanders stay at 33 wins on the 33 date in the Battle of New York. That's what we're hoping in there. All right, you guys, be back tomorrow. Thanks again. Appreciate all the contributors in the chat. Have a good rest of your day.